Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to share with you guys the experiences of going from novice to pro in woodworking. I'm going to cover several different aspects of this trip for me. I recently started making furniture and doing woodworking in the past couple of months. I had to make several investments in tools. I had to make several investments in time and energy in setting up my shop, which I am nowhere close to having it where I want to be. I have lots of plans and lots of things I need to get done, and I thought I might share what I'm doing and my plans for what I'm doing with you guys, and someone that might be in a similar situation and may get some ideas and do some things of their own, get a little bit of inspiration. So the idea for this channel is the road from novice to pro in woodworking, and several different aspects of that. We're going to cover the skills needed and the skills that you acquire in woodworking and finishing, and also the tools that you might want, the tools that you might need, and how you set up your shop going about doing it. And for me specifically, I'm going to cover budget restrictions and why I make certain choices the way I do, whether I had to compromise and get something that I really didn't want because of budget, or if it's what I wanted in the first place. So recently I started doing woodworking and making furniture to supplement my income and make some money on the side. My full-time job had cut back pay due to COVID-19 and oil prices and everything else. So I'm thankful to have that full-time job, but with my cut in salary, I also needed to make up some money. In the meantime, I had done a couple projects for my wife where I had made her some countertops, and I eventually made her a farmhouse table. When I put that farmhouse table up on social media, I got a lot of requests for people that were interested in me making one for them. So I joined a few other groups on social media to learn more about tips on woodworking and furniture making. And when I did that and posted the picture of the table that I made for my wife, it got pointed out to me that I made some critical errors in the way I designed and fabricated that table. That table is a ticking time bomb. It's not going to last a lifetime. Eventually it's going to crack and split. And I'll get into that in another video where I go over breadboard ends and board alignment and everything else. But I thought I might start making this video because there's so many people just like me that are watching YouTube looking for inspiration, and I've learned a lot from YouTube, but you can also learn wrong on YouTube. A little bit of background from me: I've always done some carpentry work, but I haven't done fine woodworking, and I didn't realize exactly how much of a difference there was in that until I got into this. So in the last couple of months, I've had a crash course in a lot of different aspects, and I wish I had known them sooner, because the items that I've made for my customers, I'm very confident in. But the items that I made for my wife, not so much. And I know eventually that I'll be replacing those with something that was made correctly. In the meantime, it's going to be kind of a cool experiment just to see how long does it last, even though that it was made inappropriately. Because one thing that I've learned is there's not always a right and wrong in woodworking. There's different. I mean, if you want to slap a table together in a couple of hours with some pocket screws and get it done, by all means. If you don't care that it doesn't last for a decade or 2 decades, then was it wrong? No. Could it have been done differently with a higher quality? Yes. So the idea of right and wrong is kind of like going across town. I may choose one way, somebody else may choose another way. One way may be more efficient, one way may stay out of a certain intersection that everybody hates, but you still get to the same end result. So there's a lot of interesting things to do, and everything that you can learn, you can put your own twist on it. If you see an idea here or an idea on another video somewhere or something else, and you don't like the way they incorporate 1 or 2 aspects of it, If you've learned a different way, by all means, man, marry it up, match it up, and make it work for you, because ultimately that's what it's all about. You may not have the tools I have, I may not have the tools you have, but if there's one thing that I've learned recently is there's a million ways to skin a cat, and just because I don't have the exact tool I need doesn't mean that I can't put something together and get the same end result. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a few pictures of some of the projects that I've done. I've done several farmhouse tables lately. That's what I've been specializing in. My next couple of projects, I'm going to be redoing a countertop, and then I've also got a project coming up where I'm going to be doing a conference table, and that's going to be a big project, and that's going to be a high-end project with a very specific end result wanted by the customer. So I'm really excited to get into that, and I'm really excited to get into working with some of the harder woods, the finer woods for furniture, because so far I've only been working with pine, and what I've learned from others that I've networked with is that working with pine can be a nightmare. One, it doesn't want to align. Two, it does not like to absorb stain. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't like to absorb stain equally distributed amongst it. You'll have splotchiness even if you use pre-stain conditioner. So there's a lot of different things that I have learned recently, and there's a lot of different things that I'm going to continue learning that I'm eager to share with you guys. And I hope that you come back and watch my future videos as I start going over specific projects and specific parts of projects. And my first video, this one, I'll give you a quick tour of the shop. So first of all, when I just moved into this property a year ago, we had this big, giant, nice 30 by 30 shop. It's insulated, it's got a couple outside doors, it's got a rolling bay door, garage door. It's even got an air conditioner. The air conditioner is European, so it's in Celsius, but I don't care. It doesn't blow very hard, but it blows very cold. So I put a little fan in front of it, turn that fan on, and it keeps it pretty good. I live in West Texas, and today it was about 111 degrees. I got a thermometer right behind the camera, and just now, almost 10 o'clock at night, it's still 90 degrees in here, even with the air conditioner on. So that limits what I can do, and also the proximity that I am to other stores limits a lot of what I can do and affects the choices I make, especially in my wood selection and my tool selection. So a quick tour of the shop. I built this work table here out of complete scraps that I had laying out in the barn from other projects, building porches and building whatnot. Table saw should have been probably my first upgrade, and it ended up being my last, and it has bit me several times. I just bought this Dewalt Router Set. It's got the plunge base and two different bases, one with that D handle. I didn't think that that was gonna make such a big difference, but I've used it a couple times now with that D handle, and man, I gotta tell you, I love it. This is the planer I have access to. It's a rigid 13-inch planer. This one is not mine, it's borrowed, so eventually I've got to give it back and get my own planer. I don't know if I'm going to buy this one or one just like it, or if I want to get one that's going to be different, like a Dewalt or another brand. This is my wife's old dining table. When she told me that I was making her a dining table, I confiscated this one, jacked it up, and made it an outfeed table for my table saw. This is my joiner. This has been the largest investment that I've made so far in outfitting my shop. I got a 6-inch Grizzly. I love it. I know eventually I will have wished that I had bought the 8-inch planer. It just wasn't in the budget. And this makes life a lot easier in this shop. I've got a large wall and workbench. I still need to do some organizing and cleaning up on it. Like I said, I just finished up a couple projects. One of the challenges of this shop is it's also not just a shop. It's also a lot of storage for things that we can't fit in the house. So that's also something else to consider. So I was talking about my Grizzly Joiner here, and I must have read several hundred different reviews on several dozen different websites before I made up my mind to buy this one. And one thing that I never read on any of those reviews, on any of those websites, is that a shop vac will not be adequate dust collection for this to work. So one of my biggest things that I was considering was budget when I bought this. I bought it new, and to get it new, get it delivered here, was a little over $700. And considering that I was making furniture to have income, a $700 investment in one tool was pretty hefty. And then to find out that I have to have a genuine dust collection system in order for it to work, oh man, that broke my heart. So it's got a 4-inch port down here, and I tried getting that to work with my little shop vac. And it's not that I couldn't get the shop vac to work. It's got enough power to make it work. It just doesn't have enough air volume to carry the chips. So I've got this. This is my dust collector. And this actually is a Harbor Freight model. I think it goes for $220 if you don't get it with a coupon or on sale. And of course it doesn't come with any connection hoses. So to buy the kit that goes along with it, you're looking at around $300 altogether. And I gotta tell you, Harbor Freight may not sell the best quality items on some of their stuff, but this one, I got no complaints about it. It's done everything I've needed it to do. Eventually I want to hard pipe some piping, come over here, have it mounted on the workbench, have several different ports that I can just hook up hoses to, go into different machines instead of wheeling that around every time I need to get it around. That table saw beside it also is not mine. Right now it's just storage for a friend, and it doesn't have a fence, and the power button unit is not working. So I can't really have that, at least not for use in my shop. I did pick up a Mortise machine. That's this right here. Love it. It's got its limitations. I don't know if it was what I was really wanting, but I got it for a pretty good price. And I also picked up a used drill press at a pawn shop. So between the drill press, the Mortise machine, the router, I should be able to do just about anything I want. And when I showed you my work table here, you may have noticed these bar clamps or pipe clamps that I have. I had 4 of those, and I had draped a large piece of plastic over my work table so that I had kind of a paint booth for finishing my tabletops to keep the dust and the bugs off of it.